This week, we're gonna take a quick peek at a game where you take the role of a giraffe that's exploring the ocean for the first time and discovering its many wonders. No, leave me alone. Go away, fishy.
What the heck?
And happy holidays from Bean Farm Gaming.
And this is our review of
Castle on the Coast.
I'd like to thank the publisher for providing me a review copy of the game prior to its release. It was developed by
Big Heart Productions.
and it was published by
Klabater.
It is set to be released on the Xbox and Windows Marketplace for an undisclosed price. And actually, it should have been released by now. Okay. I'm just going to guess that it's going to be available by Christmas, and I'll throw a recommended price of $14.99.
Once upon a time, there was a castle on the coast. It was a place of refuge for powerful wizards who had grown weary of the world's problems.
Blah, 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 blah. There was a incident with a dragon, wizards got in a big fight, and overall...
They never returned.
That's right, they never returned.
Still, the castle stands, mysteriously gazing into the ocean.
And that right there, friends, is where I'm starting the story of this game. So, you ever play one of those games that you were pretty much ashamed to say that you liked and enjoyed? Today, I'd like to introduce all of you to an upcoming release, Castle on the Coast. The game starts out with a strong storyline detailing how a bunch of wizards who built the castle, and where do you suppose they actually built it? On the coast, maybe?
That's so annoying.
The storyline goes on to detail how there was a huge battle and all the wizards disappeared. I will have to say I was overly impressed by the voice acting.
Hello, giraffe.
All of the voice acting. I mean, all of the text in the game is voice acted. That alone earns this indie dev a bean. And I really can't go much truly further into this review without addressing the elephant in the room. These graphics! Yeah, obviously, if you've made it this far into the video, you're either fully engaged in the story, shopping for a young one, or, if you're like me, you played a lot of these games that looked very similar to this on the original PlayStation, Dreamcast, or Nintendo 64. Having said that, the general playability and gameplay definitely feels current gen. I did my playthrough using the Xbox Series X, and not only was the frame rate rock solid, the draw distance and pop-ins were very minimal. Even though I typically deduct points for engines using wireframes, cel-shaded figures, I have no problems with the graphics on Castle on the Coast. The game is even a bit self-aware, as they included a selectable costume skin for your giraffe that's an intentional polygon character that reminds me straight of, Mario 64? The bright color palette helps the overall feel of the game and seems fun and approachable. And although my kids were kind of shied away from the game based on its character models, I'm sure there's all kinds of normal kids out there that would find hours of enjoyment within these castle walls. There are no timers, skill-dependent boss battles, or learning curves to overcome. The game includes a God mode toggle in the menu to make it accessible to everyone without the concern of difficulty, which I gracefully abused within my playthrough. The game does include a semi-co-op mode, which is allowed to call itself a two-player game, although this tag-along sidekick role is more of what I would call a 1.5-player game, as the second player controls a squirrel character who humorously throws out acorns and seeds that quickly bloom into flowers, effectively not helping the player character as well. Thanks a lot, buddy. No, thanks, buddy. Tell that squirrel to go get a knife. And there is also the option of the parachute, which I found to be useless due to the lack of any sort of real fall damage and the fact that you find a jetpack within like the first 5 minutes of the game. I was annoyed with the usage of this 2-player model in Super Mario Sunshine, and I'm not so thrilled to see it implemented here either. The sound effects were fairly basic, but feel accurate for the game. The background music failed to really build any sort of real emotion or environment. Having said that, the environments themselves are lush and expansive. Several times within my gameplay, I stopped playing to zoom out and look around the map. And even beyond the castle walls themselves, the many additional realms have all of their own unique charms. The enemy AI is basically non-existent, and I believe this is an oversight that hurt the overall pacing of the game. Yet, on the other hand, I'm definitely not asking for any flying bats that knock me off the platforming sections, which the majority of the game actually is. So if you're up for a short journey through multiple portals in search of the next set of keys and simple switch or color matching puzzles that unlock new areas, this game may just be up your alley. Up my alley. What are you from Iowa? Yeah, you could probably say that. All the collectibles are placed in plain sight, many of which are not missable as they're directly in your path. The game would be considered an easy and fairly quick completion as I hit the full 1000 Gs in a single setting on a Saturday night. Saturday night. Except for the stupid boxing champ one, where you have to wear the box outfit and break other boxes. Oh, duh. Thanks to Klabater for explaining that to me, by the way. The whole thing took me about 6 hours to casually wander around through and pick up all the floating collectibles. The controls were responsive and nostalgic trip back to a simpler time in gaming where I could casually run my fat plumber around the screen collecting coins without much worry of the team of Goombas ruining my reign of terror. Throughout the game, there's a sneaking general attitude of 90s extremism throughout the NPCs, which is especially apparent in the arcade ramp park. I know it well, as I was part of the Limp Bizkit, Offspring, and Linkin Park crowd, although I'm sure this was included as some sort of comical sense, poking fun at the era and the many apparent similarities that this game shares with many early PS1 titles. I'm not so sure it resonates well with modern gamers, much less millennials.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
Yeah, you're probably right. And I'll admit it, I was skeptical of the polygonal design going in, but once I picked up the controller, guess what? I couldn't put it down. I really enjoyed the inclusion of the underwater worlds and the strangely useless submarines. The storyline was pretty childish, each area's objectives were extremely repetitious, and the enemy AI, the sharks, random frogs, and suits of armor, seemed like an afterthought. After my single playthrough, the replay value comes into question. A kid may be satisfied repeating the same challenges time after time, but for us here on the farm, once is enough, until they make a second return to the castle on the coast with 3.5 beans on the thigh. Yep, well, that wraps up that review right there. Here's some notes I took, where I put the keys to the tractor. So, you know, we make these new review videos every week, so if you're an indie developer or there's something you want to see
Stardew Valley!
besides Stardew Valley or Call of Duty, let us know your thoughts and recommendations in the comments down below. Be sure to visit again next week
as we continue to take humorous stabs at some of the industry's new and upcoming titles.
Stay safe out there. We'll see you next time on the farm. It's that time of year again, as we approach the 12 days of content creator giveaways. To celebrate, we're giving away our excess and duplicate Xbox game codes and accessories. To enter the giveaway, just head on over to In-Depth Gaming on Twitter. Entry is as simple as hitting like, retweet, and tag a friend, and then you're entered. Nice! Several times a year, In-Depth Gaming rounds up codes and accessories from creators and publishers like In-Depth Gaming, of course, Achievement Land, Cheetah's Guides, Carnage, SML Podcasts, Sangrias from the Hidden Levels, Bean Farm Gaming, Dementia, Staggerella, Game Addicts, and donations from the following developers and publishers: Turtle Beach, Cat, Neat Microphones, Sometimes You, Rattleacca, Zidalon, Chili Dog Interactive, Prison Games, Liquid Bit, Console Labs, White Door Digital, and more!
Now we have over 78 winners will be selected. You are going to be able to win things from Xbox games to new headsets to gaming mouse.